Barbara, welcome to Lifestyle TV. Today our special guest is Clockwork Crosby, so stay tuned. Where are you from and what inspired you to start making art?
I'm from the Lower East Side of Manhattan, downtown New York City, in good old USA. You know, both my parents are artists. They brought me up, you know, in Alphabet City, you know, in the 80s. So I'm born and raised downtown. And basically, you know, I watched all the artists from my era, you know, struggle through the city and try to sell their art for pennies on the dollar.
How did you start making clocks? Does time have an important meaning to you?
Well, you know what? I like to put myself into different situations and work with different materials. I've gone from being a writer, you know, to doing graphic design, to making music videos, to doing clothing, and you know, either making music or now making clocks. Like whatever I have in my mind's eye, I like to create and try to like see it in real life. So you know, I was doing these classes in college where I was like studying the surrealist group and a Bloomsbury group, intellectuals from England, and you know, it all kind of serendipitously came together. Weirdly enough, like I just ended up going into this 99-cent store and $36, and then like I was in front of a bunch of clocks. So like I ended up putting, you know, the face of these clocks with the clock piece, and there's an old 1920s surrealist film by Dali and Manuel where they cut this woman's eye, and when I make the clock, I have to cut the eye of the clock, which is a surrealist act. But back then, it was like a really shocking thing to see, you know, someone cut a woman's eye, and it wasn't a woman's eye, it was a pig's eye, you know. But that same kind of energy is what I put into the clocks. You know?
Can you tell me about your different clock collections?
I always like to take baby steps. So like, you know, instead of taking leaps and bounds and, you know, doing the biggest ideas first, I like to like let people follow in the progression of my ideas. So there's like a idea of like history, and in time you can kind of follow someone's career. So, you know, collaborating with artists is one way for me to make different series. Like I did a collaboration with Lola Jabalazi with all these really pop.
So this is the Paragon.
The Paragon, yeah, super poppy colors. And then I also did melting clocks, you know, like out of Brooklyn. You know, I've got these gigantic clocks now that I'm working on. I just did for the Mayweather and McGregor fight with Showtime that they exhibited out in Vegas and in LA. So I mean, I'm constantly working on new collections, but you know, I always like to challenge myself with new stuff.
I noticed that you're creating the clockwork movement into the eye of each character, which is really interesting. So why into the eye? Is there something that inspired you?
Well, really, so when you look at the clock and you're looking at someone's face, right, you're getting interaction with the person that you're looking at. So like when you're looking for the time and on a clock, it's actually in the eye. You're looking at whoever inspires and motivates you. So you're actually getting an interaction with somebody that would propel your day when you're looking for your time. So it's, you know, based off of the surrealist film, Chandelier, like the elements in the clock all have meanings behind them. So they're all like, you know, enriched with different symbolism. You know, the eye of time, the gold dials, the idea of value behind gold, and why we would select an element like gold to be, you know, a value more than copper, right? And these different ideas all kind of like come together to make the clock, you know, itself.
You've got published in Forbes, XXL, Wall Street International, Hypebeast, The Source, and the list goes on. So how does that feel to see your work being recognized?
I think anytime you get press or like notoriety or just acknowledgement from people, it's a blessing, you know, and it comes with the territory of like working really hard and just kind of forgetting about, you know, what the end result would be, and just have tunnel vision and continuously work on what you really love to do, and then people recognizing that and, you know, giving you any spotlight for it is just a beautiful thing. So like, like as of today, I have Adobe just dropped. So they're putting like my boxing glove, my golden boxing glove TKO clocks in all of their programming for like a new online shopping, like a Shopify. And so that's dropped today. So it's like, you know, non-stop stuff that's always dope to have happen, yeah.
What advice would you give to young and aspiring artists?
Honestly, like, do it because you want to. You know, don't necessarily listen to people if they don't have constructive criticism to give you. If they're just hating, you know, follow your heart. Really, like, do it without anyone's permission. Don't wait for somebody to come along. I always say, like, there's no big hand that's gonna come out the sky and like save you or do it for you, you know? And like, honestly, like, if you really want it, you're gonna do it, and you're gonna make your own rules and figure out your own lane, and everything that comes, you know, with that, it'll be learning curves, you know? There was something that I always kind of thought was, what was it? It was a class where it's like they split the class up, and to make it, okay, let me put this right? So there was a story of a teacher that had a pottery class, and like they split up the class, and then half the class had to perfect one pot, and then the other half of the class had to keep making pots over and over and over, and at the end of the year, they would judge the two separate parts of the class on who had the best pot, right? And, you know, at the end of it, what happened was the kids who perfected kept making them over and over because they kept doing it until they knew it like their second nature, you know? But the other ones just perfected it, and it gets so weird because you're staring at it. It's like looking at a painting from like 2 inches away versus stepping back. So I always had that in my mind. You just keep doing it over and over and over. Like, I whip, my wrist is like nonstop. So like, I just keep doing it, and if you just keep doing it, eventually you'll be really great at it, you know? And I've always thought, like, if you're gonna do something, you just do it because you want to and you love to do it.
Do you have any upcoming projects?
Yeah, I'm working on like 3 or 4 shows at the current moment. So like, I'm always 3 or 4 years back on most of my ideas. So like, it takes that long for me to actually get to show the work. So I never have enough actual like group shows or gallery shows to actually put the work out. So like, I'm still getting some of the ideas that I've had in the past out. But like, I just finished this samurai sword out of jigsaw pieces. I mean, it's, you know, just a weird idea that I scribbled down like 3 years ago, and I finally got around to finishing it. I just did my friend Idris Black's album cover for an album he's gonna drop called World Party. So I did like a giant globe that you would spin, like a floor globe, but I switched the globe out for disco ball, which is gonna be really cool. And I'm working on like a giant clock show. So like the big ones I did of Floyd Mayweather and McGregor, I'm doing an entire show of big melting clocks like that size. I've got a couple other weird ones up my sleeve, but you know, I'm always got, you know, stuff ready to go. So when I get included in group shows, I'm showing new work. Because if I invite people out to my shows, like, I want them to know that there's gonna be something new to see. Instead of getting the same work and the same stuff. So like, even though the clocks are always the same, you know, in the idea and the principle of it, like, they're always, you know, with a twist, or there's something new. So I'm always elevating and like trying to have people follow in like the progression that I'm working on. You know what I mean? If that makes sense, like, if they can follow along the story, then they feel like they kind of went through the process with you. And then it makes people feel like they can do it themselves too, which is like, you know, surround yourself with the people, like-minded people that you want to be, you know? You want to do something. If you surround yourself with people that think like you and want to achieve stuff, you can really like accomplish a lot. Hey, this is Clockwork Crosby. You are watching LIFESTYLE.TV.